Anti in a great resumption of form this season. Fox wins the Austrian Grand Prix and he wins the Italian Grand Prix. A great race for him. Will come across the line here and win the Brazilian Grand Prix. Redemption day for the American driver. She wins the Spanish Grand Prix. Will beat Kubo unless Cado gets an amazing run, which he does. As he comes to the final winner for the very first time.
Hello, and welcome. This is Ultimate Virtual. This is the Spanish Grand Prix. This is the Valencia City Circuit. Having left Formula 1 in 2012 after funds dried up for racing, it's so nice to be back on this track decades later in Ultimate Virtual to truly realise the potential of these wonderful streets. It's a circuit that speaks for itself, so I'm not going to even try. But that being said, we do have a qualifying session on our hands. This is qualifying. We've just done a lap here. We'll go through the fastest laps. It's Corvid on professional pole position, if you can believe that. I certainly do. Let's take a look at the upgrades that we've had coming into this race, how the teams are stacking up. This is coming in the championship standings with all the car stats in mind. So if you look at it, BFX are top. Obviously early days, only 3 races done, so it does completely depend on how many tokens a team has spent so far, and BFX have spent more than anyone else apart from Happy Pops, who've spent more than them. But it does remain to be said, they have a lot of grip. Pappy Pops in second have a lot of acceleration. Neither car has another department above 3, right? So these better rounded cars, you got the sort of SFR, the 5 acceleration, 7 grip, 6 turbo, but they've not got any speed, remember? And then you get the really interesting cases like the ASV, 3 speed, 6 acceleration. They've actually had some very good rolls. But they're currently right the way down in 6th place in the championship, which is where they were in pre-season. Jake goes to the top of the timing sheets. I'm sure he'd love a pole position. He's obviously back this season after his little hiatus. We'll see if he can do anything in particular. He did take a pole position back in season 5, of course. We can find out where that was. But yeah, interesting to see. With that being said and done, 30 seconds left in this session. We'll take a look at the tokens for today as well, because these come out before the races now, so you can take a look at these tokens. They're the only ones we've got. 2 tokens for Grandy, who sits 4th in the timing sheets. Goose, interestingly enough, is just revving out at his top speed there. 2 tokens for Grandy. Then we have 3 for Kada, 3 for Corvid, 3 for Goose, 2 for Rito, 2 for Adva, 4 for Jake, and 4 for Priya. This could be an intensely competitive final lap of the qualifying session. And look, here are your 4 token spenders. Jake in the super fast racing car, the car that delivered the champion of Season 5. In Season 5, Audi was still struggling to get promoted from Challenger Virtual. Will we see David take Goliath here? Can Priya do anything? No, she hasn't been able to improve across the line. This may well be the final result set in stone by 0.2 of a second, unless we've got anybody further down able to challenge it, but it doesn't look like it. Here are your results right now. Jake Brad does take pole position for this Spanish Grand Prix. Rito will actually start second, ahead of Goose. Then it's Kada ahead of Grandy and Priya in 6th position. Pit crew 7th in the end ahead of Kraft. Then it's Corvid and Juan filling out your top 10. Anti starts ahead of Pappy. They're on the 6th row. Then Fox ahead of last race's winner Charuni, starting from 14th. Shiloh starts from 15th ahead of Suicide. Then it's Abva, Kado, Todsod. Somehow made it, starting from the very back of the field. Pulling the tokens back up, we'll go from the top spenders down. Jake, spending 4 tokens, starts first. Priya, spending 4, will only start 6th. Then we've got the 3 token spenders. Kada, spending 3, starts 4th. Corvid, spending 3, starts in 9th. He was doing well earlier on, but I don't think he improved on that first fast time that he set. Goose, spending 3, starts 3rd. So that's your little class of their own. 2 4 token spenders in Jake and Priya. 3 3 token spenders in Kada, Corvid and Goose. And then 3 2 token spenders as well, which you get in the form of Grandy, starting in 5th position. And the two token spenders of Rito starting 2nd, a good qualifying for him in a slightly revamped Neon Sunset virtual car. In fact, yeah, a little blue tinges around the edges. We're not quite sure what that means, but I'm sure it will be revealed in due course. But this is a sort of B-spec livery, as it were. And then 2 tokens as well for Abva, who will start. Oh gosh, where is Abva? In 17th. That can't be right. My lord, he's got some work to do from the very back pretty much of the grid. Last 2 rows he's standing on. He's going to have to make up quite a lot of time and help out his team, who are already really struggling in this league. Will he be able to do that? How will it shake out? We'll find out in the Grand Prix right now. Here we go then. 5 lights ahead of the drivers. We're underway for the Spanish Grand Prix. Goose immediately looking great into turn 1. Rito swallows up Jake and takes the lead. Goose shoots himself into 2nd place. He's got the tyre advantage on Jake on that medium, but gets a really poor run over the bridge. Grandy and Priya now get past him. Grandy up into 3rd position goes the Finn. Goose and Priya now side by side down into the hairpin. Goose gets that position back. Corvid and Pit Crew filter through in the background. Then a big crunch of cars craft ahead of Juan, Anti, Pappy, Jeru, Todd, Shiloh, Suez and Abva somehow made it, and Kado. Abva has actually lost a position on the opening lap, but Rito currently leads. The man who has not been on the podium now for 4 of the last 5 seasons. Seasons 3, 5, 6 and now 7 so far have seen him go podiumless, as we see the Thunder Rexes fighting it down into the hairpin. Can Pit Crew get the run? Yes, he can. A great run indeed. He gets Kada as well from that, and Pit Crew is up into 5th position. Take a quick look at this. He's not spending any tokens. I don't know what he's cooking. It seems to be working. Grandy, though, is just going to edge past him into that chicane. Look at him go there. A very, very nice little overtake back on his teammate. Priya is up in 2nd place. Of course, Priya and Jake have history through the transaction and the sort of ownership and drivership of the Yorkshire Aerial team, a team that still exists. Ooh, as we see Jake... no love lost there, pushing her off a little bit. Team that still exists in Journeyman Virtual East to this day with a fantastic driver lineup. And it is still got the naming rights of the original Yorkshire-based outfit, despite the fact that it is now fully been transferred over to the Netherlands. So, really interesting to see history between these drivers and how this will materialise in what is their first season. Neither of these drivers were on the grid in Ultimate Virtual last season. This is the first time we'll get to see them go wheel to wheel in the top class of motor racing in the Virtuals world. Rito, though, gallivanting out in the lead. He is well clear. We'll take a quick look at the drivers' standings so far this season. Giroudi is now your championship leader after 2 podiums, including a win at Monaco in the opening 3 rounds. Grandy finished last race off the podium. Slightly disappointing for the Finn. He would have hoped to be on there. Will it be a return to form for him today? We'll have to wait and see. Anti we're not expecting much of, but he was the one fighting very hard against Priya in the opening round of the season. The 2 4 token spenders as they were then, and it's the same story with Superfast Racing and with Audi in this race as well. Goose holds 2nd still for the time being. His mediums, though, are going to start going away a little bit, and that will allow Jake through. Juan is in 4th. Again, I don't really know how. Is it the soft being an amazing start tyre? I really hope I haven't screwed something up here. I don't think I have. Regardless, pit crew is now getting swamped by Kada, by Pappy, by Kraft as well. Pappy sliding wide there. Kraft with a really good run. Just going to take the inside into the hairpin. Gets that move done. Gets pit crew up the chuff of his rear wing. Sorry, it's really dusty in here actually. Some drivers into the pit lane already. That was Juan. He is now down into 12th position. It is the same top pack, Rito, Goose and Jake, as it was before. Jake and Goose. Bit of history, probably, between these guys. Goose sort of been fighting for podiums around the time that Jake was fighting for the championship in Season 3. Of course, both owners of their teams back in Season 1. Owner drivers, that is, as well. They're now closing up to the Starboy Rito, the two-time champion, who has really not looked like the Rito that we came to know and love in the first two generations of the sport. It was such a bad start to Gen 3, which, for those new among us, was Seasons 5 and 6, in which his old team, BBB Force X, finished 8th in both seasons. Such a bad start that first season that he transferred over to Neil Sunset Virtual. It was a bit of a set-up season for them. That was only their second season last time out. He did pretty well in the end. It was not a terrible campaign for the team. They did take 5th place in the end, with Rito, unfortunately, though, getting pretty comprehensively outperformed by his teammate Kubo's 68 points to Rito's 42. Grandy is in 4th. Goose has pitted. He's taken the soft. Rito still leads Jake in this Spanish Grand Prix. Goose, our highest pitter, then Priya, the next highest. She's gone past Juan, who is on the mediums, did pit for them a few laps ago. Priya slightly more recently on the hards. It looks like Juan is giving his teammate a few problems. I'm not passing judgment here, we're only 11 laps in. But the fact that a 0 token Audi driver is currently fighting with a 4 token Audi driver this high up the grid is quite disconcerting. I don't know how, I don't really know why. There we go, Priya back down the main straight, a good exit for her. This is by the way, as we see Jake come to pit lane, I'll hold that thought, because we'll have to see who gets past here. Rito did come in the lap before. That was an undercut of sorts, but more one to maintain position rather than grab it. The big one is that Goose is now to the race lead, having pitted a few laps ago. I think the soft is just a mega tyre here. I think that is what it boils down to. The soft is so quick at this track, especially with this new generation of cars, which does lead me back onto what I want to say after I cough. It's raining, oh my lord, the soft isn't going to be doing shit in the rain. Goose ahead of Rito into pit lane. Could this be a fake rain though? Can be quite temperamental conditions on this Mediterranean coast, but looks like all of our drivers are going for all the extreme wet weather tyres. Grandy now, and that's a big loss for him. He's now down in 7th position. He would have been hoping to be a lot higher at this stage of the race. Kraft is one of our last to come into the pit lane as well. Abra, Suicide and Shiloh, the last 3, and they come in right as it's announced that there are clouds. Will any of them take the inters? No. Nobody dares to dream. But what that does is massively play into the hands of Goose, because that very much cements his lead that he got from the undercut, and then it wipes that strategy clean. He doesn't need to deal with the pain of the older tyres there. He can just go for it on these wets, but he does need to make sure that Rito can't catch him too easily. Now, if we look at this is quite interesting. I'll make this a bit bigger. And just as well that we didn't get drivers going for a slick or an inter, because we do have heavy rain coming back. But as we look at Rito, who is set up best for these wet conditions is the big question on everyone's lips. If we look at the tokens, there's no BFX spend today. That means that the team with 9 grip, by far the highest, don't make hay with that. Jake will be doing pretty well. They have 7 grip as well as 5 acceleration. Very heavily chassis based car, if you assume the chassis stats to be the sort of acceleration and grip as opposed to speed and turbo, should be catching the Audi Sport Virtual car, which has precisely 0 grip, as he does so right then and there. Gets her onto the bridge, gets a nice bashing back though. Not very kind of Prix. Regardless, Goose leads the race on the week where he commits to an upgrade plan for the rest of the season. He will be distancing himself from the team. Does raise questions about their participation next season. Of course, team owners will have to confirm their participation in the league, and well, it makes sense. Someone's away for a while that we may end up seeing the team folding, which would be a huge shame for such a historic team in the league. But would also open the exciting possibility for the very first time of 2 promotions from Challenger Virtual. A bit more fluidity in the mobility between leagues. Look at Jake, really late on the brakes there. It looked like he was committing to the normal racing line, and then last minute swerved straight into the side pod of Prix. However, works for him, I suppose. He's got that done. He's up into 3rd place. We'll take a look now at the tokens as we run down the grid. We've got Goose out front, leading with 3 tokens. Rito with 2 tokens is in 2nd. He was 4th with 2 tokens last week. That was a very good result for him. This would be obviously even better. But 2 tokens to be this high is incredible. Jake with 4 and Prix with 4 are currently 3rd and 4th. Corvid with 5th runs 3rd, I believe. Sorry, Corvid with 3 runs 5th. I believe he had the exact same last week as well. Juan with no tokens is up here somehow. Again, let's pull up the Audi car. 6 acceleration of 3 speed they've got, and 4 turbo. I suppose. I am dying. If you want to make the argument, Goose going to be a little bit closer on that pit exit than he has been before. He's lost a chunk of time there. Oh, by the way, Abver has not made his way up the grid. He's in 15th on 2 tokens. That is crazy. Like, holy moly, brother, that is crazy. What is wrong with that car? 2 speed, 5 acceleration, 4 grip, 4 turbo. On paper, 15 upgrades, the 2nd most. It's a perfectly good car. There is nothing wrong with it, necessarily, right? What is going on? What is going on? What is going on? Anyway, let's take away those. Yeah, Rito, Goose Coach. Oh, Cado we've not talked about. He's down in 8th position. It's the team velocity, not a lot of acceleration, which can hurt you in certain corners on this track. They've got good grip, which should help you in others. So like there, Cado could take quite a lot of speed through the corner. We've got a big fight for 2nd coming though. It is Rito versus Jake as we've passed the halfway point in this race. Yeah, this is going to be an interesting one. I'm going to keep the car stats on the screen for a bit. We'll get rid of the tokens. It's an interesting one. You look at Jake's SFR, no longer Maserati, although it does look like one. Oh, a very nice little move to the outside. Goes slightly off track. Rito, staying on track, actually takes the better line. Jake will go deeper into the chicane to try and make up time. Rito, though, uses the turbo. Can he pull ahead into the hairpin? He does, but Jake switchbacks him. Brilliant little move. Fantastic battling from the pole and the Briton to serial race winners in their respective eras. Jake, a dominator of season 3, and Rito, a titan of seasons 2 and 4. Their paths have crossed many times, and this is yet another example, to be totally honest. Right, we've got Prix in 4th. She should be doing better. It is, again, very questionable how her teammate Juan, who is 8th now, why is Fox with no tokens doing better than Abver with 2? That is something I'm really genuinely curious about. I think we We need to have a look at that. But Goose still leads, as he has done for a lot of this race. We are 27 laps into this 43-lap race. That is 17 to go as Goose crossed the line there. It's been pretty vanilla so far, I won't lie to you. Not much has happened. It's a very sunny day though here in Valencia. The sun's shining, the boats are in the harbour, the fans are by the track, they're loving it. We're loving it. I mean, everyone's loving it. It's a beautiful venue. It's such cool racing that you get here as well. This is the final, by the way, street circuit in this section of the season. In this run of 3 consecutive street circuits that we have found ourselves on the calendar with, starting in Jeddah, round 2. Of course, won in the end by the wonderful Pappy. And then round 3 was Monaco. If you've not seen that, go watch it. Great race, won by Giroudi. Round 4 now in Valencia. We move back to a more trad circuit in Vallelunga before we plunge into the mid-season break. That is an interesting track. Only joined the calendar last season, though it feels like it's been there for longer. It is quite a historic track. We'll go from the top down and check the tyres. Goose on pretty worn out mediums. It really interesting to see nobody on softs. That looks like such a quick tyre here. Prix has been doing a madness, and she's now up into second, having been sort of 5th and 6th battling with her teammate Juan earlier. She has kicked through on this hard stint, and she's doing brilliantly. Rito in 3rd place is on pretty worn out mediums as well, slightly more so than Goose's. Jake had pitted recently for fresh mediums. He's now closing that gap back to the podium runners. That is your fight for the podium. And outside of it, in the rest of the field, we have Corvid now in 5th place, still running well. Kada is now up to 6th from 8th position earlier. Juan has dropped down a couple of spots. Grandy, spending 2 tokens today. My apologies. Grandy spending 2 tokens today is really not doing that well. If he continues as this is, it would be another 7th place finish, which if you look at the last 2 races... Oh, we've got pitters. Rito's just come in for the soft, and now we get rain. That is a huge spanner in the works, and that is a gift to Game On Goose. He'll find himself coming down this straight and making the very easy decision of sliding in off those very old medium tyres, as Rito did 1 lap ago for a slick. But this is the big thing. Prix in, Jake in, Rito on his fresh soft. Into the pit lane. No more than 1 lap after he had just pitted. Devastating. Gut-wrenching. So many adjectives to describe it. By the way, that fight that we called a clear-cut fight for the top 3, Rito has completely left that now. He is much more within the realms of Corvid, who might be able to get up into 4th position with a good couple of laps here in the Lepore Racing car. Needs to clear this traffic. He's not doing a very good job at it. Kraft particularly holding him up. Wonder if that's a paid off favour. It's now Jake versus Prix. We thought this would be for the win. It isn't. Not at the moment at least. Jake to the outside down that straight. It seems to be that if you get a good exit down that straight, you could pull inside or outside as long as you hit your brakes at the right point. You will take that position. We need to analyse, where does the FVR go right? Oh, look, Jake back up the inside there. Prix just squirming around the outside. Look, they're actually going off at turn 1. They're slowing down quite a lot. Where does the Lepore go right in where the Fox doesn't? Okay, so that's the thing. It's completely nonsensical, right? Because this is the Flyvy racing car is what I'm talking about here. It has 2 speed to Fox's 2. It has 5 acceleration to Fox's 5. It has 3 grip to their 4. Maybe that's made the difference. It has 4 turbo to their 4, right? But what you get is Adva in 12th, running 2 tokens. Sorry, Adva in 12th, running 2 tokens, being lapped by Goose in 1st, running 3 tokens, in what is on paper the same car, if not slightly worse. Bloody hell. Fascinating. Absolutely fascinating. Jake has cleared Prix. He's in second. She's in third. This will be her first ever podium in Ultimate Virtual. We'll take a look at the standings again quickly. So she currently sits in 13th place. Only points score was a 5th place finish to her name. Back in Kailami, it could have been much more than that. It might be much more than that today. Grandy is the point I was making earlier. He finished 7th last race with 2 tokens. If he does the same again today, that would be only 12 points, 13 with his pole position last week, for 4 tokens, which is not a good return. That is not championship contending return. Look at the championship, they're 4th. Velocity had a good race weekend last time out. They're up in 6th position now. Fox are right down at the back. Ledpaw are on to score big points. Fox himself was on to score big points. He's now in 9th. Neon Sunset and Audi will both take points here. Kada should bring home some decent points. Fox will only regress further from this back of the pack that sees 1 point separate the teams 6th to 9th. You got the sort of then little battle of 6 points between Pappy in 2nd and Flyvy Racing in 5th. It is just fascinating though. FVR and Fox with nearly identical cars and such different fortunes. All part of the cruel world of racing. Goose, as he has done for almost the entire race, is still leading. He could be on to take FVR's, he should be on to take FVR's first victory since Season 3, where it was the driver who won last week, Jaruni, who crowned them champions that day in a similarly very rainy Interlagos. We may not see any more dry running in this race. The wet weather is here to stay. Jake is in 2nd. He has cleared Prix and dropped her really by quite a considerable amount. Rito really hindered by that pit stop. He is now pulled clear of Corvid, but it would be difficult seeing him make up the 5 or 6 seconds that he needs to get back on that podium. Still, a 4th place with 2 tokens would be very impressive, but a 2nd place, that's a championship on the cards. This is, again, his curse. He is not allowed to be on the podium. He hasn't been on the podium since the race in which he won the championship in Season 4. And we may see him off it yet again. Corvid in 5th place at the moment. Kada in 6th. Bit of no man's land for him. Grandy in 7th is not doing well relatively. Juan in 8th is having a very good race. This would be a great points haul for the Audi team. 3rd position and 8th position for them, taking home a juicy little 19 points for their 4 token spend. It would not be too bad. It's nice to get those tokenless points for Juan as well. That'll help him personally. Fox in 9th is 4 positions ahead of his teammate, who is apparently spending 2 tokens but has shown no signs of actually displaying that. Kraft is in 11th. Pit crew just on the outer reachings of the top 10. He is on to, by the way, score his first point of the season here and now. Yes, it would be his first point of the season. Him somehow made it, and Kada, the only drivers yet to score points, somehow made it. Unfortunately, is down in 14th today. But Kada, being in 6th position, will be on to score his first points as well. So 19 out of 20 drivers as we head on to this, the final lap of the race. It may not be a Sunday, it may be a Saturday, but this has, despite a potentially little bit of a closing of the gap in the end, maybe showing you who on pace was better overall today, the man with the fastest lap as well. But that doesn't really matter, and it won't really matter. Goose has led this race pretty much from start to finish. For the first time since Season 3, they're back on the top step of the podium, Flying V Racing, and game on Goose. He wins the Spanish Grand Prix. Jake Brown will come home in 2nd place. In the end, it's going to be very tight between Rito and Priya coming up to the line. That is fascinating. He managed to claw back 10 seconds on her. I'm not sure if that's a very quick Neon Sunset car or a very slow Audi. Corvid will finish 5th in the end. Rito just in the end, a pit stop away obviously, but only 4/10 away from breaking that podium curse. However, it will go on. Kada takes 6th place, getting him off the mark for this season in the Spanish Grand Prix. He'll be able to chat with the locals in his native language. Grandy In 7th position, we're going to have some slidey bumper cars around. Now, this could be quite interesting, actually. Can Fox spring a surprise on Juan going through this final corner? He's close to it, but doesn't manage it. 8th for Juan, 9th for Fox. Our pit crew will come home in 10th position. Jake Brad took the fastest lap. The rest of the order was Kraft ahead of Abba, spending 2 tokens. In the end, only finished 3 seconds away from the points, having started down 17th. But you'd argue that's just not good enough, and that may well be, if not definite, then at least symptomatic of the sort of thing that will get Fox relegated come the end of the season if they cannot improve performances. Todd Sod, 13th, somehow made it. Now the only driver yet to score a point this season. 14th place for him, adding to his sort of combined misery. He has finished 11th, 13th, 12th and 14th, the top 4 positions outside of the points in the first 4 rounds. Pappy, 15th in the end. Not a good day for Pappy Pops Racing, but they have some good points on the board already. They'll be willing to kick back for a few races. And T in 16th, interestingly enough. And quite funny to see as well, the teammate of Jake Brown, who finished 3rd last week, 2nd this week. He's going to be looking for that win. You know he will. 17th and 18th, taken by, in reverse order, our top 2 from last week. Cano ahead of Sharuni. Suicide, 19th place, the Monaco winner from the previous year. And Shiloh, just to top it off with a bit of poetic inspiration. The race winner from this Grand Prix last year finishes 20th. That is all for today. We have one final race in the first half of the season before we go on break. That is, of course, Vallelunga, the new host of the Italian Grand Prix. We'll be back for that on Wednesday. You can hold me to that. But until then, bye-bye.